Good morning once again, and welcome to day 3 of the 30 days back testing challenge. We ended yesterday, I think around this point, and price was selling from this area. I think we started why price would be selling, and we had reasons for price selling from this inefficiency and this invasion fair value gap here. So, and before price actually went up to that level, we had a series of accumulations here. So we noticed this to be an accumulation, manipulation, and distribution. So at this point, if price should be closing below this candle, this makes this candle an institutional candle or another block, a validated order block, and we are going to have price drop down to this fair value gap because what we have, all these points here is trend line liquidity. So we have a trend line liquidity here. And so if price should start clearing from here, and then it's definitely going to clear the trend line down to this point. And so just slightly below that, slightly below this trend line liquidity, we have this nice order block here. So these are key levels which will be going to be acting like levels of support when price is dropping. So at the moment, our confirmation comes from price taking the low of this candle and maybe even closing below it, as it's going to be validating a bearish PDR. Okay, so I think that's sorted out on the daily time frame. We can now move maybe down to looking at the 4-hour time frame. We have this 4-hour CB. Okay, we have this 4-hour fair value gap, and also just try to bring it like this. We'll have this inversion fair value gap. Now, inversion fair value gaps and breaker blocks to also ways of identifying a shift in structure, all right? Because that simply means price has started violating bullish or bullish PDRA. So at this point, we'll go down to 50 minutes. If the following day price comes back to this area, we can be looking to sell. Okay. So let's see how that looks with time and price and then see where it gets us. Let's see, go back to, okay. So currently with the Asian session, I hope you guys are seeing my screen, right? So we are currently at the Asian session and we are slightly below the invasion fair value gap. So at this point, we'll say we want to see price come back into this 4-hour key area before we drop lower. All right, so let's see how that goes. Also, we can look at the 1-hour time frame to see if there's any potential area that price might want to go out to before dropping. And looking at the 1-hour time frame, we have this fair value gap. Now, this fair value gap, oh, price comes back to it, that's also going to be a good area to see a sell reaction from. Okay, it's also within the 4-hour area. So let's see what happens. Go back to 15 minutes. So we have a daily opening price. We want to see price probably take Asian high before uh dropping. Remember, we are interested in sell because of what price has done. Because of what price has done on the 4-hour time frame. I mean, on the higher time frame like the daily. So we had a very nice move from here. I think during London, this was already 130, yeah, 2, 230, 230. This was news. So price had to move very fast lower without giving us an entry after taking Asian high. I think we're able to see maybe the 5-minute time frame would have seen an entry from the close of this candle and then price trying to retest from this one too. All right, so but we are not going that low to 1 minute time frame. All right, so it's still good. There are days that you're going to watch price go to your profit zone without taking you in. And like I used to say, the most important thing here is that price went to your direction. That's the first thing you should be happy about. Like you did correct analysis, and probably that should be something exciting to you. All right, so let's see how this day ends. If price can at least give us maybe a 618 retracement from here, we can get in from an ultimate trade entry. So which means if we just get price trying to come back up to this breaker block here, we can be having a sell from there. Okay, I think with this about how many pips? Excuse me. And start targeting this fair value gap down here. It's about 1 to 3 hours. So if price can at least come back up here, we can get in from that sell and we expect more lower prices. So let's see how it goes. Okay, okay, okay. We are not going to get up from that entry. Oh man. So at this point, the way price is closing below this low, this gives us that feeling like price won't really be interested in going higher again. So, but regardless, let's see how the day ends, and then we'll look at the daily chart to see what is going on. All right, let's go to the daily. Okay, so I think just looking at the daily time frame here, price has closed below the candle we mentioned. So this right now is a valid bearish order block. Okay, and only looking at the daily time frame, that's a complete shift in structure. So our next target is this fair value gap. That's our next draw on liquidity. Though we have this swing low here too. Price can also come down to this as well. So let's see if we get an entry before price taps any of this. But like I mentioned, price has already filled this 15-minute void. There's 15-minute fair value gap here, and immediately price closing below this low shows price is not going any time higher, going higher anytime soon until maybe the liquidity is grabbed already. So let's see. Asian session opens with a gap much lower. Let's see if London gives us displacement lower for us to sell. The fact that price is dropping this much doesn't mean you can start to buy, right? So you have to maintain your draw on liquidity and your institutional order flow. Those are the most important things. You can use Once you know your instrumental order flow, you can always get your entry, whether you use support and resistance or use trend line, or whatever you want to use, or use just simple Fibonacci. So long as you know your instrumental order flow, you can always get in. So we are into London session, and we have formed this guy. That's a good order block with this small uptrend that's been happening here, like having a low, a higher low, lower low, a higher low, higher high, higher low, and then a higher high. So if price breaks this other block here, we might want to see price dropping down to this low and maybe now into the fair value gap. Okay. Remember, we are on a downtrend at the moment. If price gives us sell signals, we just have to take them, right? Though even if it gives us that signal, maybe it that's if price can give us a signal from here, we sell and it drops, or it can still give us a signal, we sell, it goes back up to this fair value gap. We don't really care. You don't really need to know what price is going to do 100% before you become profitable. All right. So let's see what happens here. Okay. So we haven't closed below the low of this other block yet. So that's not yet a valid break of structure. And we have a small fair value gap here. So just looking at this very closely, if price comes back to fill this fair value gap without before closing below this candle, then we can just enter directly from the close of any candle below this low. But if we close below, maybe we might want to see price come back to this fair value gap. Okay. Price fills the fair value gap and then closes below. So at this point, we can get a sell directly from this, the opening of the close of that candle, and with our stops above the Asian high. And then we cannot target that, target the daily fair value gap. Okay, we cannot target the daily fair value gap right here. So if you are taking this trade, let me see some ones on the chart. If you are not taking, let me see some 0 on the chart. We also have something here that looks like a down channel continuation whatsoever. How do you call it? All right. So let me see some ones on the chart if you are interested in this trade, and let me see if you're not. Okay. All right, all right, all right, all right. So uh let's see how it plays out. Our stop loss is above this high, and our TP is at the draw on liquidity. Mhm. So price is trying to close lower. Let's see what happens. Mhm. 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 Okay. Think we have another entry here. If price can maybe come back up to this fair value gap, maybe give us something like this, we can get in another trade with our stops way above this high, because we have this to be like some equal highs here, which means it can be like a trap, right? So let's see if price comes back to this fair value gap, we can get another shot, maintaining our stops above that high. Okay. So we are taking the second trade here, and we are maintaining our stops at this high. Remember why I said that? It's because we have these guys here. This price can weak these people here. Now, normally, a lot of people are selling, so and they're already trailing their stops to these highs. So which means price might weak them out, but still price might continue low. I'm just saying this so that you always put your stop loss in a more safer position. Remember what happened yesterday or what we learned yesterday. So always try to have your stop loss in a safe area. Okay. Okay. So let's see what happens with the trade. Our stop loss to daily fair value gap. All right. So New York session came back up again into that fair value gap for double re-entry. Let's see where this leads us to. Okay, so New York session is giving us another entry from this week. I think, yeah. So good. We have dropped down to the fair value gap. So our first trade was 2.13, and then the second one, let me see. Second one was 3.9. Okay, so congratulations to those who took the trade too. I think it was a good one. Remember, I said you don't have to be scared to take a trade. So long as you know your draw on liquidity, you might enter after some few trials. The problem here is not to win every trade. Okay. The problem is not to win every trade. So our first trade was 2.13, and then our second one is 3.9. The goal in trading is not to win every trade that you come in. It's just to win more than you lose. That's all. So you will not really know which trade is going to be your win or your loss, which means that your wins are going to be randomly distributed, as Mark Douglas used to say. Your wins are going to be randomly distributed. So the trade that you are scared to take might be the trade that's going to be your winning trade. So you don't need to be scared to take a trade. So we have filled the fair value gap here. So maybe we can be having a retracement or price might want to decide to go down to the price might still want to go down to the other block. All right. So let's see what we have. So into Asian session, let's go back here so that we'll see how the day closed. Let's see how this day ended. So price wicked the fair value gap, and we have a volume gap here plus a fair value gap. So these are possible areas that price might want to retest before going lower, or remember we're already bearish, right? But we're now trying to see areas that price might possibly want to get a retracement from. What I mean is, you can either have a retracement here back up to this point and then much lower, or price can just decide drop to this other block and then come back up to somewhere here, continue lower, or anything. Anything can happen. So let's see if that's what is going to happen. From either fair value gap to this other block back into this inefficiency, or remember we have our volume gap here. Here is our volume gap. Okay. Okay, that's our volume gap right there. So let's go back to 15 minutes. Set chart. So if price can take previous daily low before giving a retracement higher, that will be very nice. Okay, that will be a good liquidity taken before. All right, so London session drops down, clearing previous daily low. So at this point, you are very, very attentive, or you are very, very cautious of what is happening. If not, you will be interested to sell from here. All right. So I think if you want to sell from here, if we could add another draw on liquidity lower, then we could possibly sell. But the thing is, price is on a key level, which is like a level of support. So at the moment, it's not uh it's not the right thing to do selling from this point. Okay. If we could have a key level lower here to target, yeah, then our sell could be valid, but we don't have any. This first area is an area of support. The second one is an area of support. So you don't know if price is going to respect this one or not. So you can't be selling in an area of support. Okay. So which means at this point, we might instead want to see price trade low or higher, especially if it closes above this candle. This is going to be an institutional candle, and that's going to be a good confirmation for us to see have a buy if we get a displacement above it. All right, so we actually closed above it, but there was no displacement. So, and we quickly rejected from this other block. So let's see, seems price might still want to go higher, lower. So New York session takes the low, and then it drops more, even lower. So at this point, we are just watching. If we could have sold from here, we'll be in a trade, but it wasn't high probability. So we're just trying to end the trades based on our time frames aligning with each other. So let's see. We're trying to go lower. Could it be price wants to go down to the other block first before going back up to the volume gap and the fair value gap? So let's see what happens. Okay, so we have a shift in market structure here. This is a shift that we have from here. So there's a possibility price now wants to move higher. And if we get a buy setup first, we're going to target this small fair value gap above this Asian high, right? Because that's the liquidity above Asian high. So at the moment, we have this fair value gap here that we could take a buy from. So which means if price can come back to that fair value gap, it will be a good spot to buy from, right? Keeping our buy set up from there with our stops below this low, and we'll try to target that level. That's about 3.12 hours. So if a top price wants to come back to this point, but if it wants to move, continue from here, we can as well just let it go because it will be okay. So let's see. So let's see if price wants to give us an adjustment. Oh man, that was very fast, and price did not actually tap us in. So that was really, really fast. Price did not really tap us in, just about 2 pips or so. Oh my God. And this would have been the fastest trade, just about 30 minutes, 1 to 3. So let's check something out here. Let's try to check 30 minutes why we didn't get tapped here, because there should be a reason. Okay, same on the 30 minute. 30 minute also had a fair value gap, but it wasn't filled. So let's check 1 hour. Okay, 1 hour also had a fair value gap, but 1 hour had no fair value gap, but we had this bearish order block here. So I think price came back, got support from the other block, which is also a breaker block on the 30-minute time frame. So to the influence of the news, we were not able to get tapped in on that particular trade. So we've missed out on that trade. So let's see what happens next. So this guy comes back straight into our entry. So we are going to be buying back. I think it was very fast. So a trader decided to give us a second chance. So, but at this point now, it's a little bit technical, because let's try to find out areas that we can buy up to before prices tries to drop lower. Okay. So we can now just target this New York high. That will be how many hours? That will be 4 hours. Okay. So let's target that high and see what happens. They are going to smell our TP and it's coming back down. Our TP is right up here. So let's see. Okay, so our TP has been hit. That's 4.02 R. Let's just get it to be 4 R. 4.3. So we have 4.3, and price has not actually filled the volume gap here yet, but so let's move. Let's see what happens. So price goes into the volume gap. These two lines was our volume gap. So at this point, we are going to be watchful too to see if price wants to continue higher, or this area is going to resist price from going higher. And we have this technical order block standing on the way. So if price should be breaking below this other block, then we want to look for more sales. And then first target will be this Asian low. And then we subsequently target this low too. All right, so we just want to see if this area now is going to resist price or not. Is it going to resist price or not? And if price should be closing below this, then this other block has failed as another block. All right, perfect. So we closed below that other block. So this is validating the is validating the strength from this volume gap here. So we can take a sell from, if price wants to retest this breaker here, can get an entry. So this is a New York reversal trade. Our target can be this low and subsequently this low. So this trade idea is a New York reversal trade. Let's see if it's going to tap us in or not. So price came back a little bit higher, did not tap us in. From this fair value gap, we were not tapped in. So this guy is going without us. So let's see what London session does this very day. Okay, so price takes Asian high into this other block. And we are trying to close below this low. So let's see the next candle. Okay. So we have a breakout structure now. The next candle, it even closes up all these fair value gaps. So we can just say we have a displacement based on these candles. But at this point we are already too close to an area that looks like an area of liquidity. So we are really very close to it already. So I think taking a trade from there will not give us a high risk to reward ratio that we want. So let's check how the daily candle closed for this particular day. Okay, so price came back up smoothly into the volume gap. This is our volume gap here. Yeah. So gave us a setup for a sell, validating this level, though we do not have an entry. So now at this point, right, with the close of this candle, this shows so much bearish momentum. And then looking slightly just above this other block, we have a fair value gap here. This is a hidden fair value gap. And remember what I said yesterday about hidden fair value gaps, that price tends to respect them a lot. So this is going to add more ginger or more onion or more strength or more liquidity down here for price to come down, to come looking for it. So we expect price to come to that key level. All right. So let's see 4-hour time frame. Okay, same thing. That's our drawn liquidity at the moment. Let me see for our, okay. Okay. Oh, this 4-hour time frame. Let's go back to 15 minutes. So price from the volume gap. Let's look at time. So we're into the Asian session, and Asian session is accumulating, and we have this bearish order block. So price accumulates like this and then gets into this bearish order block. We can have a trade from there, maintain our stops above this high, and we can now target this volume gap. I mean, this small fair value gap above that other block. That's a 2 to 2.3 arrow. So this is an instant AMD trade, and if price should tap us in during London session, that would be awesome. All right, so pre-London, let's see if price goes back to take Asian high to give us that. Oh my God, this looks like we are not going higher again. Let's see. Then we are not going higher anymore. Oh my God, oh my God. Okay. We have failed to get an entry from here, from this other block above Asian high. I was actually expecting the Asian high to be taken because all this triple top here was going to be acting like inducement into that other block. So unfortunately, price did not tap us in. Price did not tap us in, and let's see who gets set up to continue selling. Okay, very soon our first session is going to be ending. Okay. All right. So the next day, London session takes London and New York Asian sessions high. So let's see if we get a bearish displacement. I think so. Okay. All right. So good. We have closed below this low. So at this point, I can take an immediate entry from the up close of this candle, which just stops above the London high. And then you target fair value gap, another block. So let's see how this goes. We're already in the trade, right? Because we took directly from the open. Let's see if price taps us out or in. Okay, 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 okay. Okay, so our volume gap, our fair value gap has been filled. That was, stop our TP was from this fair value gap, right? That was 2.8, 2.18 hour. So let's come back for the next session now.